The story begins with Isaku being introduced to her new home and her caretaker, Yudo Kiya. She is also introduced to her grandfather, the Yakuza boss, but she sobs because she has lost both her mother and father, and Kiya promises to be both to her. Isaku recalls how those words made her fall in love with Kiya. In the present, Isaku is accepted into Oto High School. While reporting back home, Kiya is overjoyed and lifts her up to celebrate, treating her as his own child. Her grandfather objects because Oto is too far away, but she claims that is why she chose it, and she explains that she wants to have a normal high school life unaffected by her family status, as well as find love because having a one-sided crush on a Yakuza member is ineffective. Isaku arrives on her first day of college and observes the students. As she fumbles around deciding to talk to someone, she trips and is saved by a boy. However, when she turns around, she realizes it's Kiya. She chastises him for being an adult cosplaying in a high school and tells him to only see her at the train station, but he insists on studying with her and gives her an overly elaborate explanation for why boys are not safe for her. Isaku discovers that he bribed the school authorities and obtained permission from her grandfather, but she warns him to stay away from her before returning. In a flashback, Isaku recalls how children avoided her because she belonged to the Yakuza family. She enters the classroom and takes a seat after realizing that everyone has already formed groups, and Kiya approaches her again and starts talking to her. Two boys approach them, asking Isaku if they are together and calling her cute, but before Isaku can respond, Kiya begins to intimidate them and sends signals instructing them to leave. He goes so far as to threaten them, but Isaku interrupts him. The two end up causing a scene, and their classmates start calling them weirdos, which worries Isaku because she does not want her first impression to be ruined. Just then, the teacher walks into the classroom and asks who wants to be the class representative. Isaku wonders if it's a good idea, but Kiya notices her overthinking and freely gives their names. They also receive their first assignment, assign roles for the upcoming sports day. The students have a laid-back attitude toward Kiya and Isaku. While Isaku looks confused, Kiya quickly gathers everyone's attention and addresses the students by name to make them feel better. He suggests that participating would be a good idea because the students would get to meet new people, and he also expresses a desire to be friends with Satonaka. The students are surprised when he claims to know everyone's name. Kiya quickly begins delegating work by taking the names of every single student, and the students take a liking to Kiya. Later that evening, Kiya walks into Isaku's room and finds her curled up in bed, upset about her communication skills. She expresses her envy for his way with words and tells him that she dislikes being called a weirdo and blames it on him. He assures her that things will improve. He then hugs her in bed, calling her adorable, but she resists. The next day, Isaku approaches two Yakuza members and requests that they play volleyball with her for practice, expressing her desire to win. One of the members throws the ball, but Isaku misses it, and it lands on her shoulder. This irritates Kiya, who beats him up, but Isaku refuses to train with Kiya, claiming he will be too soft on her. The next day, after volleyball practice, all of her teammates compliment her skills and promise to practice together during lunch breaks. This motivates Isaku to train harder and improve at the sport, and she believes it will earn her some of Kiya's respect as well. Isaku walks in on Kiya smoking a cigarette inside the school and scolds him. He mentions that he's a 26-year-old Yakuza dude, and she notices he's in a bad mood, but he deflects the question and tells her to focus on the game instead. As the match progresses, Isaku realizes that her finger is hurting and that she will no longer be able to use her hands, but she sees the ball coming towards her and uses her foot to return it and score a point, all in the hopes of not disappointing Kiya. After the match, Kiya does not allow her to celebrate, but instead carries her to the infirmary and applies a bandage. She asks him his thoughts on the game, but he responds with a pale smile. He explains that she has been very energetic lately and fears she will no longer need him around, and that the mere thought of it makes him lonely. She assures him that no matter how much she wants to, she cannot leave him and that he is now the center of her universe. We see Isaku and Kiya in their classrooms, and Tamaru, a young boy, introduces himself to Isaku and Kiya uses the restroom during the break. After this, he requests her Instagram ID and receives access to follow her. Kiya overhears their conversation while this is going on, and Tamaru's attempt to be friendly with Isaku has enraged him. When he tells Isaku to stay away from Tamaru, she tells him to back off. Later that day, we learn that Isaku has a secret crush on Kiya, but she wants to get over him, so she tries to fall for anyone else. She was even caught sending Tamaru direct messages. Kiya soon discovers she is texting Tamaru, and he attempts to grab her phone to block Tamaru, but Isaku stops him. Following this, he exits the room. While chatting with Tamaru, he suggests that Isaku join him and his friends for an afternoon of karaoke, and Isaku considers it and accepts his invitation. The next day, Isaku sneaks out of her house and heads to the karaoke party, where all of Tamaru's friends appear to be smoking, drinking, and making out. Tamaru tries to kiss Isaku, but he isn't interested, but just then Kia bursts in and knocks Tamaru out, taking Isaku with him. Isaku appears to be angry with Kia while they are in the car together. He then tells her that he will never accept any man in her life and that he does not want anyone to take her away from him. We see Kia get a failing grade on a school test, and he responds by saying that grades are not necessary for him to succeed in real life when Isaku gets upset with him for his low marks. After this, Isaku pushes him to study for the retest and offers to teach him. Isaku then starts tutoring Kia in the school library, and some of her classmates then approach her and ask if they can tag along. A few of Kia's classmates strike up conversations with him by asking if he's dating Isaku, and he replies, "Never," and Isaku's heart breaks. The next few days, Kia is seen preparing for the exam, and he eventually achieves academic success and requests a reward from Isaku. In response to her question, he continues by saying he wants to kiss her, and this leaves Isaku blushing and confused, and she refuses to kiss him. Kia then offers Isaku a day of spending time with him as a reward for his efforts, and Isaku agrees to his request. Isaku can be seen getting ready for the day of the trip, while Kia on the other hand can be seen cooking for Isaku. They go to the zoo and have an amazing day together. When Kia and Isaku are heading home, he brings up his request for the kiss, but then says sorry for asking her that, but Isaku then tells him that a kiss between them is fine with her, and she approaches Kia. He also approaches her, but she changes her mind. When Isaku runs away, Kia is attacked by a mysterious man, however Kia shoots him, and his bodyguards come to his help. Isaku returns at this point in time, worried for Kia's safety. Soon after, Kia walks in and sees Isaku waiting for him. She tells him to forget that she agreed to him kissing her when he returns, and Kia now refrains from bringing it up out of respect for her. In preparation for a school excursion trip, students are told to form small groups, and after this, a group lets Kia and Isaku join them. Isaku feels incredibly thrilled to be a part of a group. Murayama makes an effort to befriend Isaku during the class trip, but Kia flings a knife at him and ultimately discourages him from approaching Isaku. Even though Isaku disapproves of his actions, she chooses to overlook them. Isaku and her roommates are later seen together in a room. They all head to the locker room because one of her roommates left her phone inside. Isaku meets Kia during this time, and as a consequence they wind up chatting with one another. When a group of kids comes in to change, Kia and Isaku take cover in the same washroom. In the next scene, we see the students participating in beach games, and Isaku learns that one of the classmates has forgotten her sunscreen and offers to lend hers instead. However, while Isaku is alone in the room, two men end up kidnapping her. Kia searches the beach for Isaku but has no luck. He also checks her room but finds no sign of her. This leads him to discover that two men were aimlessly strolling around the spot. He ends up blaming himself for her abduction. We learn that the Kodengumi gang kidnaps Isaku. Kia can be seen pursuing the vehicle that is taking her. After a fight and the car sliding into the water, Kia soon finds her and manages to save her. Kia and Isaku's teacher punishes them after they return, and after that, while the other kids are having fun and enjoying fireworks and barbecue, they are asked to sit in a room together and write an apology. Isaku gets upset by this since she truly wanted to go experience an ordinary teenage life. Upon returning from their outing, Kia gets caught trying to take his books with him, and Isaku finds out that Kia was intending to have someone else complete his schoolwork, and she then scolds him and asks him to study with her. Isaku makes a demand which Kia accepts, but he asks her to reward him at the end of it. Kia is seen asking Isaku to wear her bathing suit, and he has a little pool ready with barbecue when he leads her outside. He explains to Isaku that he arranged everything so Isaku could experience it because they weren't able to enjoy it on the outing. After that, Isaku is having fun in the pool while Kia grills meat on the fire, and Kia also joins her in the pool shortly after. We see Isaku studying and feeling bored, but just then, she receives a text message from one of her classmates asking if she wants to hang out, and she agrees. Kia enters her room and realizes she is bored, so he invites her to have some jelly with him. During their snack, he suggests they attend the upcoming festival together, but she hesitates as she doesn't want to run into her old grade school classmates who know that she is from the Yakuza family. However, she eventually agrees to go to the festival with him because she wants to have fun. At the festival, as they stroll around, they encounter her grade school classmates, and they are scared because of her Yakuza connection. Kia tells them that he is on a date with her, and they also hold hands to make it clear they are together. Later, Isaku sees a shooting game where you can win prizes by knocking items down, and she notices a grumpy-looking dog prize and thinks it might remind her of Kia, so she decides to give the game a try, but unfortunately she fails to win the prize. After seeing her disappointment, Kia decides to play the game and win the prize for her. Later, Isaku is tired, so they take a break. While Isaku is alone, she kisses the dog and thinks of Kia. He sees this but pretends that Isaku's friends are approaching, so she quickly puts on a mask. Kia then kisses her forehead, jealous of her earlier interaction with the stuffed dog. Later, we see Kia waiting for Isaku to wake up for breakfast, but she is still sleeping, so he gently wakes her up, but Isaku starts expressing her reluctance for Kia to see her just after waking up. Isaku feels that she doesn't look her best in the morning, but Kia assures her that she always looks cute. During this moment, he notices that she is sleeping with the stuffed dog, and she explains that the dog has become tangled up in her bed and mentions that it reminds her of him. While holding it, Kia gets a flashback of when she kissed the dog, and then he feels jealous that she got to kiss the stuffed dog and not him. Isaku asked for the dog back, but he discarded the dog. After this, he decides to cuddle with her, leaving Isaku feeling confused. They'd engage in small talk, but suddenly she falls asleep. He is on the verge of kissing her lips but stops himself because she has become unconscious, and he doesn't want to do that without her consent, and begins pondering how long he would have to wait before expressing his feelings for her. The next day, Isaku is summoned by her grandfather, where she meets with his sworn brother, the boss of the Tanuki Gumi. During the meeting, she encounters his grandson, Mikio, who is the same age as her, and he asks her if she has a boyfriend. This question infuriates Kia, and he receives a scolding from his grandfather, while Isaku senses that she may not get along with Mikio due to his personality. Later, while hanging out with her friend, Isaku watches a romance show involving a kiss, and when she asks about their experiences, her friend reveals she kissed her middle school boyfriend. The conversation turns to Isaku, who confesses that she has feelings for Kia, and she recalls their festival outing and the misunderstanding about it being a date, and Isaku reveals she doesn't know how Kia feels about her. Meanwhile, Mikio gets involved in a brawl at an alley and is caught by one of his guards. He sees Isaku in the library, and he decides to talk to her. They chat briefly until Kia intervenes, pinning Mikio to the wall. In the library, Mikio explains his role as a guard dog and expresses his intent to protect Isaku. Intrigued, Mikio transfers to their school, causing a stir due to his attractiveness, but they told him not to reveal their Yakuza connections. The focus then shifts to planning the school festival, and Isaku's friends propose a play of Romeo and Juliet to bring Isaku and Kia closer, but Mikio insists on playing Romeo, winning in a game of rock, paper, scissors. The scene revolves around the play rehearsals, highlighting Isaku's acting stiffness. We see Isaku and Kia are cleaning up together and getting close, while Mikio walks in claiming to retrieve his phone but catches them in an intimate situation. After this, he probes further to find out if the two are romantically involved, but Isaku and Kia insist they were just acting out a scene. The next day, the class continues to practice for the play, and for their upcoming costume rehearsal, Isaku has donned the costume of Juliet and Mikio, that of Romeo, while on the other hand, Kia is portrayed as a supporting character in the play. During the play, Mikio keeps getting on Isaku and Kia's nerves, and he picks up on the fact that they're passionate about each other. He seems to take pleasure in causing trouble and will stop at nothing to put obstacles in their way. While rehearsing for the play, Isaku does a poor job, and Kia glosses over the reality of her performance. Nonetheless, Mikio informs her of how bad her performance was. After that, he offers to stay behind and give her a hand with her practice. The group leaves the school to return home after practice. Mikio places a knife on Isaku's neck, while on the other hand, Kia is aiming his gun at Mikio. After this, he threatens Isaku and then orders Kia and Isaku to get into his vehicle. Mikio takes Kia and Isaku to a storage facility, and he ties Kia and threatens to molest Isaku. However, Isaku gets the better of him and kicks him in the crotch, and Kia manages to free himself, and he proceeds to assault Mikio. Isaku begs him to stop, explaining that Mikio must act in the school play. We cut to the few moments leading up to the school play, and the protagonist Mikio is missing. Suddenly, Mikio appears right as Kia volunteers to play Romeo. After this, the play is suggested to carry on as originally planned. Nevertheless, Mikio and Kia switch roles during the play, but when Kia unexpectedly plays Romeo opposite Isaku, everyone is surprised. This helps Isaku to act freely, and she even goes beyond the script to kiss him while they're on stage. Kia requests for another kiss, and Isaku tells him that the play is over, and Kia kisses her hands and recites lines from the play. We see Isaku and her classmates celebrating, and Isaku notices something different in the classroom, and her friends explain that since the play, people have started to form couples. Her friends also ask about her status with Kiya and if they are together as a couple. Isaku thinks about the moments from the play and the kiss that happened, and when she wonders what Kiya was doing, she sees him talking to Mikio. Later in the hallway, Isaku and Mikio have a silent moment, mentioning that even if he leaves, Isaku would still be unsafe because of Kiya. Isaku gets flashbacks of her kidnapping, but eventually realizes her true feelings for Kiya. She then thanked Mikio for helping her confirm her feelings for Kiya. Later, Kiya and Isaku enjoy the school festival and getting desserts from a class cafe. They overhear people thinking they are dating, and Isaku wonders what Kiya thinks about their stage chemistry. They explore a haunted passage, and Kiya is scared of someone who tried to scare Isaku. They also visit a fortune teller who predicts both hope and potential trouble for Isaku, so Kiya decided to leave, confident in his ability to keep her safe. While leaving, they encountered Carrie, one of Kiya's associates, and Carrie hugs Isaku, triggering Isaku's realization that Carrie is the woman from before. Carrie explains that she wants to see how Kiya is at school and leaves after a brief chat. As the festival nears its end, Kiya invites Isaku to watch the closing fireworks outside, but she prefers to stay inside. While watching the fireworks, Isaku asks if Carrie is his girlfriend, to which he replied no. After a silent moment, he asks if she is jealous, and she denies it. Kiya then embraces her, calling her cute, and mentions how she's the only one who can make him sit or stay, comparing himself to a not well-behaved dog. They look at each other as fireworks light up the sky. We see an intimate moment between Isaku and Kiya. She tells him not to proceed when he gets too close, and Kiya explains to her that he's just like a dog. He stays put when she instructs him to. However, he warns her that he can't keep his urges under control forever. After returning home, Isaku finds herself consumed by thoughts of what Kiya mentioned, and she interprets this as confirmation of his feelings for her. Trying to make up her mind about dating Kiya, who is a gang member, is giving her the willies. Isaku sends a message to Kiya's friend Carrie later that evening, and the next day she extends an invitation to Isaku to meet with her. Isaku learns all there is to know about Kiya from Carrie when they meet. Even though Kiya was solely interested in Isaku, she admits that they slept together. When Isaku returns home, she has dinner with Kiya. After this, she goes to his room, where he proudly displays the cherished mementos he has accumulated. She then tells him that he's free. When he asks her to explain, she tells him that he's free to do what he wants to her, and Isaku yet again stops Kiya. Isaku tells Kiya how she really feels, and as soon as she does, he immediately pounces on her. She gets confused and requests him to stop. He tells her that he feels the same way about her when she asks about his feelings for her, but is upset by his inability to make a romantic gesture, and she asks him to stop pouncing on her. The next day, Isaku acts strangely at school and tells her friends about her confessing her feelings to Kiya, and she expresses her disappointment in his response and tells him about it. Her friends advise her to communicate her feelings with Kiya. A representative from a different division approaches Kiya later that day to request a meeting, and she expresses her love for him, even if he is seeing Isaku. She then requests Kiya to kiss her, and Isaku intervenes as Kiya is ready to kiss the girl, causing her to get away. After this, it's obvious that Kiya's behavior has upset Isaku, and she tries to convince herself that she had an inkling that Kiya was strange even before she told him how she felt. She then heads home without Kiya. Kiya asks Isaku's friends to meet him over message when she's talking with her friends. When Kiya meets with Isaku's friends, he treats them with snacks at the restaurant. After that, they want him to repeat what happened the night before, and they are surprised by his revelation that he pounced on Isaku. However, they're aware of the fact that he speaks a different love language. They then lead into the realization of his mistake. Kiya and Isaku take the bus home the next day after school, and after that they get in their car, and the entire trip is dead silent, but Isaku questions him if he finds her childish. Isaku is having second thoughts about telling Kiya how she really feels, and from this point on, she questions if their relationship can be salvaged. The car ride is so uncomfortable that you feel as though you could cut the painful silence with a knife. From time to time, Isaku and Kiya exchange silent glances. All of the memories associated with Kiya from the past come flooding back to Isaku, and she reflects on the first time she met with Kiya and up to the day he rescued her from molestation. Before she knows it, her feelings for Kiya have triumphed over her rationalization of their relationship. As Isaku is deep in reflection, Kiya rushes, unlocks the door, and drags her to a room. After that, he takes off his clothes to reveal his tattoo, and he delves into the meaning behind the tattoo, which depicts a tiger seeking cover beneath a peony flower. He says the sight of Isaku as the tiger's peony inspired him to get the tattoo. After this, Kiya gives Isaku a blade and asks her to slash his back, and expresses his desire for her to make a mark on him. However, in the end, Isaku decides to make a scratch mark, and Kiya then assures Isaku that as his lover he will look out for her from this moment on. After that, Isaku and Kiya make their way to the rooftop, and the two of them spend some quality time with each other. They kiss and the season comes to an end. Let me know what you think about this anime in the comments, and as always leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next video.